yet another female's after my boyfriend.
Sunday nights are Glen Bogle nights.
You are forcing them out.
It's not about other people.
New Monarch of the Glen, Sunday 8:10, BBC One.
Going to a slaughter.
Dublin, 1916. British rule is in question.
We hereby proclaim the Irish Republic as a sovereign, independent state.
It's the beginning of a journey.
There is right and there is wrong, and decent people know the difference between the two.
You're a hypocrite.
A fight for independence.
What makes you think an Irish bastard's going to be any better than an English one?
You talk like you don't care about independence.
And the ultimate prize of love.
You think you're so handsome, don't you?
Powerful new drama.
If our deed has not been sufficient to win our freedom, then our children will win it by a better deed.
Rebel Heart. Sunday at 9 on BBC One.
Now BBC One joins BBC News 24.
The British mass murderer Harold Shipman may have killed up to 300 people. That would make him the world's most prolific serial killer. The figure comes from a detailed review of his work as a family doctor dating back to 1974. Last year, Shipman was convicted of killing 15 of his elderly female patients with lethal injections. But detectives always suspected he'd killed many more, and the new study suggests he may have been killing an average of one patient a month.
Behind these walls tonight is the greatest mass murderer in British criminal history. Harold Shipman is serving life for 15 murders, but now we know almost certainly that he killed 236 people, possibly as many as 300. Only he knows how many victims there were, and he is saying nothing. He played the part of the trusted family doctor, but today's report reveals that over 25 years he was injecting his patients with fatal doses of diamorphine at the rate of about 1 a month. When the experts examined his medical records and death certificates, they found he'd certified 5 times as many deaths as other local GPs, and that was not all.
He was more likely to have been present or had seen the patient recently. The patient was more likely to have been reported as dying suddenly. The patient was more likely to have died at home, and they were more likely to be older, and certainly also more likely to have been female.
Kathleen Grundy was Shipman's last victim. Like so many others, she welcomed the GP into her own home as a trusted professional, a friend. But his afternoon visits show up dramatically in the figures. The other doctors certified deaths at all times of day and night, but the number of deaths certified by Shipman shot up at around 3 p.m. when the doctor came to call.
This report makes chilling reading, scientific and objective though it is. It's very harrowing. One of the graphs which shows the clustering of Shipman's deaths in the afternoon could almost have been subtitled Death in the Afternoon. I found it very shocking indeed.
Shipman also killed in his own consulting room. 6 patients died here, 3 times as many as other local GPs put together. Yet with all this evidence, he got away with it for years. Reform is now on the way.
We have to look at this as essentially a systems failure, and we have to look right across the board at appropriate actions that can now be taken to ensure that this never occurs in the future.
Today's report will go to the Greater Manchester Police, but there seems to be no chance that Shipman will be put on trial again.
There has been enormous, unparalleled publicity surrounding the Shipman case, and I do not believe it possible that a jury could try him fairly and objectively now.
It'll be little consolation to the families of his victims, but the forthcoming inquiry into the Shipman case should produce further safeguards beyond those already in train. All the same, it's difficult to see how any healthcare system can guarantee to stop a dangerous individual intent on betraying the trust that has been bestowed in him. Neil Dixon, BBC News, at the Department of Health.
The cabinet team appointed by the President-elect, George W. Bush, is said to be the most ethnically diverse in American history. His nominees include 2 Afro-Caribbeans, 2 Hispanics, an Arab and a Japanese. Although there is 1 Democrat, the key members are hardline Republicans, and several served in George Bush Sr.'s administration.
It took Bill Clinton months of agonizing to decide his cabinet. His successor has been rather swifter. Despite being delayed by the election, George Bush has lined up his team even before he's got the keys to the White House. The top posts have gone to seasoned pragmatists rather than ideologues. The most well-known face is Colin Powell, who led the American military in the Gulf War and is set to be the next Secretary of State. Paul O'Neill will be Treasury Secretary, an independent-minded industrialist whose political experience goes back 30 years. At 68, Donald Rumsfeld is just about the oldest man ever to serve as Defense Secretary. He too is a businessman with a long political pedigree. In fact, he's been defense